My chargeman, when I was working on board ship, came up to me one day and said, there's some craft vacancies coming up shortly. How would you like me to put you in for an interview? Yes, please, you know, came out of the blue. And shortly after that, he was called over and said yes, he'd been accepted for training. And at that time there was 3 or 4 jobs, you know, that they wanted apprenticeship for. There was the sail makers, boiler makers, rope makers, foundry. And I know I went home and luckily my father was on leave. You take rope making, he said. I'll never forget it. You take rope making. They'll always want rope. He said, they'll never take a ship out of port without cordage on. He said, you've got a job there for life. A very long, daunting, dark building, like something out of a Dickensian novel, like a workhouse. And that's just what it struck me. In those days, you had no windows in the building as such. You had shutters. You was working on dark cordage, technical or tar, and it was like looking down a tunnel of darkness, trying to see that the ropes weren't catching together. They reckon if you can last your apprenticeship and still be there a couple of years afterwards, then you'll be there when you retire. Once you're settled, you was there for life. But if you couldn't settle, then you was out.
Being a farthest away from the centre of operations within the naval base, it's very, very seldom that we visited the far end of the yard. We were that far away. We're very insular in that respect. Quite a few of the people hardly ever saw a Navy warship.
Some people worked in the dockyard all of their life and never even realised that there was a rotary up here. You weren't allowed to roam around. If you was working down the yard, that's where you stopped. You just didn't leave your job and wander off and go scouting around the yard. It wasn't allowed. It was a massive place. It was a massive.